Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here to talk about an essay. The essay I'm going to be talking about is from the very first edition of Cornbread Nation, and this is a collection of Southern food writing. The particular essay I'm going to be talking about is Iced Tea, A Contrarian's View by Fred Chappell. And this essay about iced tea was originally published in the fall of 2001 edition of Gastronomica. And Chappell is an English instructor at UNC Greensboro at the time that this was written. I'm not sure what he's doing at the moment, but he's published books of fiction, poetry, and general commentary. But this particular piece about iced tea is very satirical about the way that he feels that the South, stereotypically speaking, takes their food seriously. And there are little gripes and nitpicks such as the fact that iced tea is iced tea. You call it iced tea. Otherwise, they see you as pretentious. And then there's a certain methodology to making this iced tea. And you also have the sun tea, where you fill a jug up with water, throw in tea bags, lemons that are specifically cut into sixths, and the measurements have to be perfect. And the way that he writes it very snarkily. And he himself is sounding like he is pretentious with his given message. But then again, I would say that if I'm writing an essay about candy canes, I would be pretty sarcastic and blunt as well as far as my view is concerned, because I think the traditional candy cane is a little bit overrated. But back to his view about this, I don't think this essay is so much about iced tea specifically. In a way it is, it's the theme, but I think that the main idea is the way that he is ranting about how the South is very specific with their food. And by that, I mean that he's making a generalization. But the way that he incorporates Southern stereotypes can be found on page 104 of this first edition of Cornbread Nation. He said, and I quote, "In the South, sweetened tea is taken for granted. Like the idea that stock car racing is our national pastime and that the Southern Baptist Church is a legitimate arm of the Republican Party. If you order iced tea in a restaurant, it will arrive pre-sweetened. If you want it unsweetened, you must ask for it. Actually, you must demand it with pistol drawn and cocked." He's really made a generalization to the point that this is what you should expect, when in actuality, that's not always people. It's everywhere you go, you're going to have people with different tastes. I mean, the way that they cook in the South is different from the way that they cook in other parts of the country. For places like here in New Jersey, people come here and they can expect to find what we see, because it's all a matter of, it's all in the eye of the beholder, and in this case, the appetite of the beholder. Where if you're used to pizza in a certain way, you're going to be very meticulous. Perhaps people in the South like the way that they make their pizza, but The joke always goes that the only places that could make good pizza are New Jersey and New York City. And if you like deep dish pizza, you can add Chicago to the list. But it's all a matter of taste. And the other big thing is pork roll. If you're used to pork roll in New Jersey, it's going to be very hard to be satisfied down south. Pork roll is the term that, from an outsider point of view, Canadian bacon is the more familiar term, if one can be applied. I think that this essay needs to be taken with a grain of salt, and that you should know that Chappell is just trying to make a generalization, but at the same time, I think that his main thing here is to entertain. There are things that you can get out of this, but I think that when you're looking at it from the greater picture, I think the moral to the story is you don't want to judge an area by their stereotypes. But as far as me and iced tea is concerned, I can remember memories of drinking iced tea when I visited my maternal grandparents anytime we had dinner. But on my paternal grandparents' side, my grandfather makes a great iced tea. The way that he was showing me how he does it, where he actually boils the water in a tea kettle, which pasteurizes it, and then adds some powdered tea, Lipton, the last time I saw. But you could use 4C, you can use other companies, and then incorporates lemon juice as well. But he may have used lemon at some point too. But that is where it really tastes good. But he does make mention to the fact that he sees that only additives can make iced tea redeemable, which, in a way, he does have an explanation. But I mean, I've had Joe Brew tea, and that seems like it is refreshing, even despite the fact that there is little to no additional ingredients that would draw suspicion. And Snapple is pretty natural as well. There's not as many suspicious things that they put in there. But then when you look into, to me, Brisk is the soda of iced tea. Provided that they're made by Pepsi, they are going to have more of those ingredients that are meant to engage in other obligations. I mean, I've been drinking a lot of Brisk lately at work because there is a machine, and I've been looking to get refreshment without having to sacrifice the calories. But then you have Lipton. To me, is very sweet. Lipton and Arizona too are they're kind of juice-like. But Arizona comes in all different flavors. I've noticed they have the half and half, the lemonade and iced tea. They have they also have decaf. They have the unsweetened. They have the green tea. A lot of your companies have that, but I notice it a lot with Arizona, especially because they come in these huge jugs. But I would say that the homemade iced tea that my grandfather makes is probably the best. And it really it gives me that memory of summer too, uh, especially when it was in the larger jug. And but that's what I think about when I think about iced tea. I think that this brings up good debate about iced tea, but I think that this was written to express sarcasm and just rant about a random subject, which, in a way, it could be entertaining, but it doesn't say as much about iced tea as you may expect. But then again, it all comes down to whether or not you want to just read an essay with a driving force, and then possibly get a good laugh, or if you are an iced tea connoisseur and you want to examine the many of aspect of iced tea. This article is not necessarily for the iced tea connoisseur, but at the same time, if somebody wants to read anything and everything pertaining to iced tea, which includes alternate perspectives, then maybe this one is a go for you. But if you want to read this and other essays pertaining to Southern food writing, be sure to check out Cornbread Nation. This is the first in a series. Unfortunately, the series has since discontinued, but this includes essays on people, times, things, places, and Southern foodways. So there's a little bit of everything for everybody. I want to thank you for tuning into this video, and if you like what you see, please support our channel on Patreon, for the money that we make allows us to provide you, the viewer, with even more great content. And I highly encourage you to check out more videos from our other contributors, because they're doing a terrific job as well. And I think that no matter what your interest is, I'm sure that you're going to find something that interests you from any given contributor on this channel. For now, keep reading.